son?
The latter is 1,000 times worse.
Okay, it's just a T-shirt.
It's not just a T-shirt. It's saying something. It's an abomination.
Okay. Okay, so there you go. There's Levi's spin on that.
How are homos just like the Ish Asish?
No, because in my mind they are.
What's an Ish Asish?
Ish Asish is the woman who belongs to a man. You know, it's a married woman.
Oh, okay.
So that was the note to talk about that, but we already covered that.
Okay.
I just want to make. What does Sida Shira say on that?
Say anything.
I know some non-Jews would think, oh, look, a hypocrite. You know, that's the thing. A person can say, oh, hypocrite, hypocrite. You can easily find the negative in this guy, and you can say, oh, he's wearing yarmulke and sisters. But here's my attitude, Sharon, just for what it's worth. Hear me out. That is called putting everybody to begin with on a high level, on a pedestal, and then judging everything that they do wrong, that doesn't live up to that.
Mm-hmm.
And I say none of us are perfect, and if you do that with every single person, you'll knock everybody down because you'll see everything wrong with everybody. And I'm saying rather than do that, let's go the other direction and say, hey, Baruch Hashem, at least he keeps yarmulke and tzitzis. You know? That's my attitude, trying to find the positive in the guy.
I think hypocrisy is great because hypocrisy means there are standards. So I was dating this secular liberal Jewess for a year, and no matter what she did, she could never be a hypocrite because she didn't stand for anything. She didn't belong to any group with a transcendent moral code. So Bill Clinton could never be a hypocrite. No one ever accused Bill Clinton of being a hypocrite for getting blowjobs from Monica Lewinsky. Bill Clinton was a liberal. Only conservatives who stand up for a transcendent moral code can ever be hypocrites because they publicly subscribe to a code that is greater than them, which is very detailed. So an Orthodox Jew can be a hypocrite, a secular Jew can't be a hypocrite because a secular Jew is not accountable to anything. So I think hypocrisy is wonderful because hypocrisy means there are standards. I can be a hypocrite because I publicly subscribe to Orthodox Judaism. You who are secular, if you don't subscribe to any transcendent moral code, how can you ever be a hypocrite? You can commit adultery and snort cocaine and sell drugs to children, and you're not betraying anything because you don't subscribe to any overarching moral code. So if there are standards, the guy's wearing a yarmulke and tzitzit, at least he's subscribing publicly to standards to which he can be held accountable to, for which there's an organized community, for which there's a very detailed legal system written down over thousands of years, and it's very obvious when he's falling short of this system. But someone who doesn't subscribe to any moral system, then they can do anything they like, and you can have a point at them and say, oh, you're a hypocrite. So someone who wears a sign on their car saying Jesus saves or what would Jesus do, at least they're publicly subscribing to a value system and a moral system, so that if they cut you off in traffic. I've seen Facebook status updates like, well, this guy who had a bumper sticker praising Jesus cut me off in traffic, and what a hypocrite he is. Well, the person who was complaining did not publicly subscribe to any value system, so you can never accuse them of being a hypocrite. But the people who publicly subscribe by saying publicly, I'm a Christian, I'm a Muslim, I'm a religious Jew, then you can point at them and say, hey, you didn't live up to the standards that you publicly subscribe to, which I think is great.
I agree with a lot of what you said, but I do want to take issue with one point. Mm-hmm. You said that if somebody is a liberal, mm-hmm. then they can't be a hypocrite.
If they don't subscribe to any transcendent moral...
I'm going to come the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to say, remember my 10 commandments for liberal Jews?
Yeah.
I'm going to show you that in like all 10 of them, they were hypocritical. And the way that they're hypocritical is they claim, this is the hypocrisy, they claim they don't belong to any, subscribe to any moral code, but at the same time, they preach a code that they believe in. Mm-hmm. And their moral code, or their lack of moral code, their code for life is liberalism. Mm-hmm. For them, liberalism is a religion, and it's a religion that has mitzvahs in it. The 10 Commandments I talked about, and there's more of them than that. There are a code, a standard of things that they absolutely believe in. And they force those things down everyone's throat every chance they get. And that is they preach and they force their stuff down more so than conservatives try to push their religious agendas down other people's throats.
The difference is we just don't use hypocrite for people who fail to live up to their liberal ideals. It's just not the way most people speak. So hypocrites
Okay, I can
invariably use against religious people.
I'm gonna show you a case that you're wrong. I'll show you a few. Let's look at Al Gore.
Mm-hmm.
Guy preaches this, global this, and then everybody's got to save the earth and all this garbage, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's all nonsense.
Right.
There's scientists that have just completely refuted everything he's claimed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's all a hoax on his part, right? This climate weather change hoax, right? But the guy subscribes to it and he pushes it down everybody's throat. Then it turns out where he lives, this guy's wasting more energy than everybody like in his county combined, and he's on these jets and it's incredible what a hypocrite this guy is. So please don't think that the liberal agenda has no room for hypocrisy, because it certainly does, and we can do more of them. You want to do more of them?
Sure.
Let's look at Michael Moore. He comes out with this movie about bashing capitalism, right? Well, excuse me, if it wasn't for capitalism, this guy would be penniless, making documentaries in his backyard for free, right? But because of capitalism, he's turning a profit at the box office on every one of these things. It's the height of hypocrisy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Give me another one. We can go through them. Every one of these guys. So, just the idea, to me, hypocrisy is not something owned by conservatives. It's not something that's owned by, quote unquote, God-fearing people. It's owned just as much by atheists. Because you would think that somebody who's a secularist would accept everybody. But the hypocrisy is they only accept people who agree with their own agenda. And people who don't agree with them are pariahs. There is no greater bigotry in this country. Forget whites versus blacks, and the poor Muslims. The left wing tries to embrace. Oh, the poor Muslims. They're the new victims of anti-Semitism. The biggest bigotry in this country, bar none, is try being a conservative at a liberal-dominated university in this country. You cannot get a job there as a professor. You stand up as a student and say, I'm a conservative, you're going to be lambasted by the faculty and the rest of the student population as well. Conservatives in a liberal-dominated universities are the most biggest victims of bigotry in America today. Because liberals who claim to be we're so understanding and we're so open-minded, and they absolutely can't stand anyone who's, especially they have no tolerance for the Christian right. The right-wing Christians, they look at them as an absolute abomination. You know what the abomination is? Is what a liberal thinks of conservative Christians. They give a little more leeway to conservative, frummy Jews. Somebody like me. They'll give you a little more leeway, because the real hatred in this country, the real bigotry in this country, is towards God-fearing, Jesus-preaching Christians. And liberals hate these people. And that's my 10 cents for today, and you can bank with it.
Speaking of hypocrites, do you have the 10 Commandments of Luke 4?
Okay, you want it right now?
Yeah.
Okay, you ready? I don't want you leaking over my shoulder because you're going to see them.
Okay.
Can you handle it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can handle it? All right, can I give the background on it?
Sure.
Okay, this is gonna be something. All right, here's how it goes, folks. I've done the 10 Commandments of Liberal Jews. That was a big hit, right?
Yeah.
Got a lot of looks. Last week I did what's called the 10 Commandments in Chabad, and we made fun of Lubavitchers because it's just so much fun to poke fun at them. And now Luke asked for it because on his blog last week he was like, Rosh Hashanah's coming up, what will be the 10 Commandments for Luke 4? And I was like, well, this is too good. I'm going to do the 10 Commandments now for Luke Ford. You want Levi Ford or Luke Ford?